welcome to the new representatives. Also, please excuse how quickly I'm going to speak. I'm a DCPS teacher and a teacher diversity co-chair with EmpowerEd. I'm excited to work with everyone on this board towards a more diverse teacher workforce in DC. OSSE's 2019 Teacher Workforce Report revealed various examples of gaps between the racial and ethnic makeup of the teacher workforce and our student population. For the sake of time, I'll refer you to this report, but it's important to note that in some schools where Latinx students represent the vast majority of the student population, there might just be 2 to 3 Latinx teachers. While the numbers tell one story, they don't get even close to telling the stories of countless students who would benefit from a teacher who looks like them and who can relate to them racially and culturally. We can see this best when we consider the spaces created in classrooms all over the city to allow students to express and process their thoughts and emotions about the pandemic, the racially charged events of the summer, and even the recent events of January 6th. How powerful would it be if all students in the district with a majority Black student population could process these events with a Black teacher? I think back to the day after the 2016 election when my class of majority Latinx students, many of whom were first-generation immigrants like myself, looked to me to create a space to process their fear, anger, and disappointment. I can try to paint you a picture, but I think you understand when I say that it just hits differently when the person you are talking to about your identity being threatened is someone who shares that identity. This can explain why studies show the benefits of representation in the classroom and on student outcomes. What's more, we know that diverse schools retain diverse teachers. A diverse teaching force changes the landscape of racial dynamics at a school and can have the power to produce environments where every adult in a building can feel motivated, prepared, and hopeful about implementing anti-racist practices. My group at EmpowerEd proposes focusing our efforts on creating a diverse, sustainable teacher pipeline. Luckily, we can look to successful examples in states like Washington and neighboring Maryland. We propose a 2-pronged approach and invite you to meet with us to help us refine, develop, and enact it. The first route would target Black paraprofessionals and provide them with the support and training to come back to our schools as teachers in an area where racial gaps are large, for example, in EC classrooms. Another route would target Black and bilingual Latinx high school students who are willing to make a commitment to teach in high-need subject areas in our schools. Importantly, participants in both groups would be awarded scholarship funds and be part of a cohort led by a racially and culturally diverse mentor teacher who would support them in persisting towards degree completion and passing DC licensure requirements like the praxis. Why these groups? Well, paraprofessionals tend to stay much longer than teachers and are much more likely to come from and represent the communities that they serve. And while the high school track would take a lot longer to bear fruit, we think that this might be the answer to a truly sustainable teacher pipeline. Funding always seems to be the reason given for why programs aren't implemented, even though they're no-brainers and there's evidence that they work. But I also know that when it's a priority, the funding kind of gets figured out. So let's do this.